Hey, what's up? Cecil Smith here with Bandana Running, and I've got a special treat today, unboxing the Saucony Speed 2s. And I know what you're thinking, the shoe's been out for a year. Why is this special? Well, I don't own any Saucony shoes. I actually don't know anybody that runs in Saucony now. And I like to try different shoes, different shoe brands. So for me, this is kind of a special treat. Whenever I've looked at Saucony before, it's not that I've tried to avoid them. It's just that they've never been in my price range. They're always a little bit higher priced. And this shoe's been out for a while, but right now you're going to get my first impression when I pull it out of the box, what I think of the shoe. And I'll tell you a little bit about the shoe itself, what they did with this kind of series of shoes. Why I think it's neat and why it's probably not going to happen anymore. All right, so just hang in there. We'll pull the shoe out here, take a look at it, and oh, that's pretty light. And ooh, tongue's neat. It's got a little reflective bit to it. So let's pull this out of here so I can get a feel for how light the shoe is, because the paper's maybe more weight than the shoe. This shoe is light. This shoe is light. I thought it was going to be light. And I'm looking at the shoe. Foam feels kind of stiff on it. It's got a little bit of give. Pretty good heel counter. Pretty solid. So that's good. Tongue, pretty decent thickness. It's gusseted. I've not had these shoes in my hand before, like any Speed 2s or the Speed 1s. Pretty nice look to it, pretty standard. Check out the tread pattern. And I think the 1 and 2 were actually really similar. 1's got a lot of good reviews. 2's got a lot of good reviews. What I've seen so far, some specs on the shoe, it's 7.9 ounces, so it comes in under 8 ounces, and it feels light. It's got an 8mm drop with a 35.5 millimeter stack height in the back. So that would equate to 27 and a half in the front. It's got the ultralight Pwrrun PB foam, and it says it right there in the back. I don't know if that comes into focus or not, but it's in gray. It's really light what that foam is. It's got a nylon plate, so it does have a plate, but the nylon, I believe, is less rigid than the carbon, so the energy return isn't necessarily from that plate. And looking at some cutaways of the shoe, it actually kind of follows this path here. It doesn't rest completely on the bottom like the Magic Speed did. It's actually up a little bit in the foam. And most other shoes, nowadays it goes all the way to the bottom, but the nylon is not the carbon plate. So I think what they're doing with the nylon is actually kind of like that original design where you get some foam underneath it. That plate kind of helps distribute the force, and then you get that force back into the plate, and then it pushes up on the rest of the shoe, rest of the foam. And it also has Saucony Speed Roll technology. So you can see they kind of posted down in there. It's very dark, but it does say Speed Roll. And what that is this front little rocker design allows you, like in your gait, to land midfoot and then roll all the way off on the forefoot when you're in your gait cycle. Everything that I've read about the shoe says that it's very fast, good for multiple workouts, from easy day, almost recovery, all the way up to tempo runs and even a race shoe. List price for the shoe when it originally came out was $160. So when I said Saucony is kind of expensive and kind of out of my price range, like that's why. Like, this would have been the shoe that I got. They also have a Shift, but I think the Shift is probably more comparable to the Nova Blast, but didn't have the same, energy return. Like, the Nova Blast is a little faster type shoe, at least in my opinion, where the Shift was supposed to be the recovery day, easy run type shoe. This shoe kind of has that capability, but also tempo, the speedy stuff. When I was looking for the Nova Blast or the Nova Blast 2, a lot of people compared it to the Shift or to the Speed 2. And I didn't think it was really a fair comparison. They're like, yeah, the Nova Blast 2 is great, but the Speed 2 is better. I was like, well, that's not really fair, because to me, they're not in the same price range, right? Like, this has, a plate in it. I'll call it a plate. It's a nylon. But Nova Blast isn't plated. The price of this shoe was $30 more than what the Nova Blast was, and that's kind of not in the same price range to me, so I don't think that was really a fair comparison. I think the Shift was more of a comparison. And what Saucony did that I thought was kind of neat was they put a rotation of shoes together and called them that Endorphin series. So this is the middle shoe. You have the Shift, which is that recovery shoe, and then the Pro, which is the race shoe. So the idea was, you want an easy recovery shoe, that's the Shift. You want to do some training, that's the Speed. You want to race, that's the Pro. And it's neat. No other company kind of did that in a same series. They had recovery shoes, they had tempo trainers, but they didn't have that series that said, this is this shoe, this is the next level, this is your race shoe. That kind of goes in that group. And I don't think it's something that's going to be followed going forward. And I think Saucony's even kind of getting away from it. When they originally came out, I followed it kind of closely because it released at the same time as the Nova Blast did. So the original release for this series was in May of 2020. Then it released the second one, the 2s, in July of last year. So the shoe's been out for about 14 months. Now you have the 3s coming out in September of 2022. And if it keeps up with that series, that means November of 2023 is when the next iteration will come out. That's a bad time for North America. So I could see a change where maybe the Shift comes out in November. The Speed comes out in February, March, and then the next Pro comes out in May. Or there's some type of 3.5 version that comes out with new colorways or something, slightly different with the 3. But they did make some changes from the 2 to the 3. If you look at the shoe, it's a little narrow in the back. So the one knock on the shoe that I've seen is stability from a running standpoint. It's good wide front, similar to the Nova Blast. Maybe when I do my initial review, I'll show that comp. But when I was thinking about it, the Nova Blast is narrow in the back. If you're new to running, like, this shoe may be a difficult shoe to run in. You may want to get something more along the lines of like a Nimbus or a Cumulus, something that's more meat and potatoes in a company's line. Triumph, or Kinvara maybe is the Saucony version of that. It's kind of a base running shoe that doesn't have a lot of technology and fancy stuff built into it, because if you're not technically inclined in your running, if you don't have good form, just saying, well, I'll get that $160 shoe because it's a good shoe. But if you're not ready for it, I know the Nova Blast, when it first came out, had a tendency the instability was to make you roll in. And from what I've read, some of the reviews, it kind of had the same thing. The ones in the 2s of the Speed, similar, real similar type thing. So I think if you're technically sound, if you got the strong ankles, not a big deal. But if you haven't run a whole lot before, this may not be a great shoe to pick up and start running, even if you can get a good deal on it right now. That being said, the interesting thing about this shoe, to me, is the foam. And I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of like beaded type foam. This is unique amongst most shoes. The only thing that's similar to is Adidas Boost. And I haven't run in any of the Adidas stuff. My sister-in-law likes the Boost, but I just don't like Adidas shoes for running. I had the Adi Bounce when I first started running. It's not a running shoe. It's a cross trainer. I was like, oh, I seen a commercial where somebody's running in it. I can run in it. That's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. But this foam looks similar to the Boost foam, which is like a beaded foam. And I looked it up on Saucony to kind of see how they came to this. But, you know, Adidas is real upfront. Like, we worked with BASF to come up with this type of foam. And, you know, even Under Armour said that they worked with either Dow or DuPont, one of those two chemical companies in the U.S. to come up with a foam. Saucony is just like, we worked on it in the lab for 5 years and then came up with it. I was like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of odd, but it looks like Boost. The patterns way lighter than Boost. The other reason I don't like Adidas shoes is because they're so heavy. You know, a shoe like this in Adidas would be like 12 ounces. This is sub 8. And you're thinking about it, well, how much of a difference is that? Well, just think, like, if you wanted to add 50% of the weight to a shoe, which one would you rather have? A shoe that's 8 ounces or a shoe that's 12? Or a little bit less than 12? And it's, you know, to me, it's no doubt I would rather have the lighter shoe. I just like lighter shoes, especially it has the snappy, energetic response and the support in it. And it looks like this rubber is going to stay fairly intact. It's pretty deep tread, so I think that'll wear pretty well. But there's not a whole lot here, so I can see it getting into that midsole pretty quick. It'll be interesting. All right, well, stay tuned. I'll give you my review of this early review. If I like it, I may have to go out and give me another pair. I did get on to Rakuten. I was going to order the Nova Blast 3s, but it's taken its ASICs so long to come out with that shoe that when I finally went to order it, I looked at my email, and Rakuten had a coupon for the Sauconys, which is, like I said, has been priced out of my range for so long, for 53% off. So right now, because the version 3 of the Endorphin series has come out, you can get the 2s for 53% off, which to me is just a phenomenal deal. You know, so $80 to try out the shoe, yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. You know, and if I like it, I'll probably get me another pair, you know, as fast as I can, because I don't want them to sell out too quick. And I know mostly in the channel before I've been kind of like an ASIC shill, but, you know, Saucony, I could be on board. You know, it's an American company. You know, sign me up. You know, I'm here for it. If I like the shoe. If I don't like the shoe, then forget it, and I'll probably have to just, you know, wear it, get the miles in it, and then move on to something else. But I'm willing to give it a shot. The reason I don't think other companies will go to that series, like the Endorphin series, is Saucony did it. I don't know what the response has been. It's like $500 though if you get all the shoes. And even though you want a rotation of shoes, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I think most people, the reason they did is because it's kind of similar. Uppers are kind of similar, so the feel of the shoe is probably similar. But gosh, I think you can find a recovery shoe that you like, a speed shoe that you like, and a racing shoe if you really want to go to it. But they said you could use this one as a racer, and it's the most expensive shoe that I've had. I have the Magic Speed that I've been using for racing over the summer. It's fine for racing. It's really stiff. You know, this one feels like it's got a little bit more give in it. We'll see. But that energy return is just mostly due to the stiffness of the shoe. This one I think is because of the design and because of the foam. So excited to give it a try. I could kind of see ASICS doing something like this. It looks like with the Magic Speed 2, they made it real similar to the Meta Sky, or Meta Speed Sky, Meta Speed Edge. It has a real similar design to it. You know, this one's kind of similarly designed to the Pro, and it's the trainer, and now they're trying to make the Magic Speed the trainer, but from the reviews that I've heard, it's not a great look so far for the Magic Speed. So I will try this shoe out, and you know, if I really like it, who knows, I might be a Saucony guy from here on out. All right, well, I'll let you know how it goes. See you later.